I'm not allowed to get my answer. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll bring it to the next meeting. No, because Sophia needs to go somebody.
Only thing about real estate, they'll pay everything.
So, it was.
Everybody on there,
What-
hard for him.
Crazy.
Yeah, the newspaper put a bet on the wife decided to say goes. He lived in Hebron farm.
I,
Goes, put that as for a bet, right?
Well, I'm not
Maybe
gonna run
what-
away.
You gotta watch. I like it drunk, electronics lubricated. I sip on that. That'll be about it. I get there. Where all the tomatoes.
Wow.
thankfully not, my granddaughter. You should just keep it, why not?
But
Yeah, well, so we- oh, it's the same for the dog. I know, but. Right.
no, not.
Yeah, you're right. I just.
Speaking with, meeting up with Mark like into
I
September.
have to get this thing.
And meeting us doing that. Just a bit. The meetings will bring to the skills. Mobile origin. Church, we were always looking for small.
I mean, I bet you, show me things.
So it's around. Mark, Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up on our agenda is the EMS department. Nancy, I guess first.
Yes. This is the summary for July from our academic. You have some checks from our collection agency.
Jonathan O'Hara, $192.
This is from small claims, there's two of them.
Small claims, $133.85 and $2,000.56 or $2,000.56.98. Sorry.
And this is from our academic collection, there's two checks.
There's merchants and medical, $197.59 and $712.24.
And that's in addition to what's on this page.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Nancy.
Morning. Morning. Lot of papers in there. We started. We're operating four, well, 3 out of 4 ambulances. Right now, we have a loaner. Thanks. That's what it tragic accident we had August 5th. Staffing 100% at Knox base. We have had staffing of 2 ALS bases at 33% for the month of June. Sorry, July. Currently still at operating the non-transport vehicle on a 24-hour basis as needed to supplement the staff. We did, since the last meeting, we did get a variance to allow a waiver for EMR drivers to run the paramedics, which alleviated some of our staff. As of August 5th, we temporarily suspended transfers. For the need for new ambulance. We do have the funds to restart it back up. Hopefully September 1st. Currently, we have no full-time openings for EMTs. We have 3 part-time applications. No incoming received at this time. 4 current paramedics as well as 5 paramedic full-time openings. Training. August is a documented class to be done by AccuMed to improve our billing status for the full review on them. The K9 medical class was rescheduled August 25th. It has been changed to September 23rd. Safety. August 5th, we had 1 EMT fatal line of duty death. 1 paramedic off, also with no determined release date. The last injury before that was 4/7/23. Ambulance maintenance. Medic 1. Current mileage is 96,775. It's up to date in service. Medic 3. Total loss out of August 5th. 514, which is a transfer, was the transfer. Now it's back in North Judson. We had to replace the simulators, which still haven't been replaced and not available. Parts were removed from the 85 to repair the performance issues. Parts were used with the same amount of miles, but still require replacement. '85, which is currently out of service. Low plug control module, DEF filter, new injector, all 4 tires need to be replaced. Waiting for the estimate total. 84 is that sideline for a brake issue and emissions light. Currently waiting estimate also. Explorer 4149 current mileage is 123,886. It's requiring lower control arms and tires and alignment. Parts are all in order for that as it is currently in use. Stock as a function ALS on transport. Bases, looking for an estimate for 2 outside outlets to be installed at all medic bases for spare ambulances to be plugged in. Grants. Currently applied from grant from Northern Indiana Community Foundation for one of the 2 power load systems needed for the COTS. Their meeting's held today. I have an answer for them tonight. Also approached the opioid abatement committee for the second one needed. Finished closing out the grant that was not completed from the previous director. Applied for the grant with Subaru for the purchase of the Lucas CPR device. Still no development on Senate Bill 169, which allows Indiana to purchase ambulances for us. As always. Donations. Friday, I received a phone call from Northern Indiana Community Foundation with the information anonymous $15,000 donor. And they also asked us to send a list sent of needs and priority. I just sent them. They're having that at the meeting today. Mark Bailey's gladly donated a new washing machine for Medic 3 to replace the old one that's been broken. Personal protective equipment is good for most all personnel. Now, the reason I'm here, I have 3 quotes. Actually, I have 4 quotes for a new ambulance. One of them is the used one, which I do believe the grant, the donor will cover the cost of this used one. It's $22,000. It's an old LaPorte County ambulance. Right now, it's sitting at Osage. It's their loaner. They agreed to sell it to us. It has a little corrosion on it, just paint scrapes, paint damages. Has 125,000 miles on it. It's well maintained. It means everything we need right now to at least have a backup unit and give Lutheran their ambulance back. Quotes that we received range anywhere from $164,400, including that's paint. And the graphics design would be $5,700, $1,750 for the floor striker plates, and they're going to supply a pre-owned striker power load system for $9,000. This is the one I recommend that we would go with. It is a refurbished unit, brand new truck. They completely refurbished the entire body, all electric components and everything else.
Which one was that in front of us?
That would be this one here, the one with the picture.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, they
What was the price on it?
164,400 plus 5,700, 1,750 and 9,000. I didn't pay a total of that.
What's,
These right here are the other quotes that we had.
I don't know, what's that number?
That's the 22,000 for this ambulance.
Okay.
22,000 for the used one. That I think we believe that we're working on with Northern Indiana Community Foundation now. The bids we have on the exact same twin using the same specs from the Rec Medic 3. They're talking October 2024 delivery, which they bumped us if we wanted it. Just an ambulance price is $229,565. And then they estimate at $65,000 for the cot and the organ system. That's for Osage. Skip the second page. That was for an E450 and E350, which is available September 1st. Same thing, $65,000 for the power load system. They will pay for the graphics and they want $197,000 for a E350. The last one doesn't even have a release date and it's $280,000. So it was just an email that I received this morning, the last quote. That's, well, I have it on this, but $280,000. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's the name. So they did total the ambulance through the insurance company. We have a check coming to us for $156,000 to repay.
Yeah, I have it, Jim.
Got it. I would like to entertain us purchasing remount to replace it. That'd be great. That was the. That was from the lead. Oh, that's this one. Yeah, that was the one from the lead. The 164 then have them install all the graphics, the floor plates.
180, 850.
Yes.
This would come get to us September, you said?
Yes.
Next month?
Yeah.
Already?
Yes, sir.
I think definitely. I go on this one. Yeah, just. I can't even buy a used truck for that price. And this is, I mean. It's got a lot of miles on it, but it's got a bit of life left. I'd say it's got a grand with a life left in it.
What was the gas engine?
Yeah. Yeah, I think. I want to avoid. These are now as frequently as gas systems take up on us. Absolutely. You know. We can't. An emergency vehicle is not something that we can afford having going into the link.
I think the one from our league would be. So that's a remount on the box.
Yeah, it's brand new chassis. Remount box. On the back of it gives you a listing of what they did to the box.
Yeah, they go through it anyways.
Yeah. All the lights on the bottom.
So what kind of creative bucket work would we have to do to get the difference between what we're getting from the insurance and what we're wanting there?
I mean, I would suggest paying from QCAP. Council might have to do a little additional appropriation in that fund,
Yeah,
but not much. So we got 156, 600, and this is
188.
188 even.
$180,850. Plus the 2,200 for this other one.
So even though he's getting this other one with donation funds,
Yes.
if you could, please still approve it, because it's still gonna cost additional to clear all the
Right.
insurance and stuff. But I mean, you have several areas, you can do QCAP, you can do seeded, stuff, ARPA money left.
I'd probably pull it out of Q cap and just. More sense to do that.
So I'll put this check then in QCAP as well.
Home appropriation, so.
So I'll make a motion to approve the used 2014 Ford P450 for 22,000 from Osage and the 2022 E450 for 180,850 from Elite Ambulance Sales.
Second it.
Hi, Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Jim, can you give me a copy of the Elite? I didn't see it. Oh. Thanks.
Dan, you want to come on up? Do it.
Good morning, everyone.
All right.
So, good news, we're still at, full staff, so seem like we've kind of stabilized. So we have 17 full-time drivers, 6 part-time employees and 3 mechanics. Community Cross, Central Paving called the other day and said they're gonna start on September 5th. So we're gonna do roughly 43 miles of chip seal with them. And then we have submitted for 15 more miles of chip seal for the second call. We were granted the full $1 million on the first go around, but our estimates were a little high. So when we opened up the bid, we were under what we expected. So that's why we shouldn't have any problem getting the second call. Last week I sent you guys a email about, it's time to, if we want to put in for 2 new tandem trucks. The build slots are opening up at the end of the month. The International and Freightliner are gonna have the same motor and transmission. You know. The Freightliner is gonna be almost $4,000 more. Typically, they've been running like 15,000. So I gave you an additional sheet here. That shows the Freightliners that we have in the fleet currently. That one's
Pretty high.
The five,
The one with
half
half a million miles on it.
yeah, that might be a type.
I was wondering because.
I questioned that.
Newer trucks or, well, it's.
No,
mid-
it's,
well,
it's an 06.
you know,
It's an 06.
And then you got. Well, and then number 2 on the list is a 2015. Over $250,000.
Yeah, so the Freightliners that we have in the fleet is truck 15, truck 12, truck 24. They all have over 200,000 miles on them. They've been good trucks. Truck 26 is a 2016 that's got 142,000. So my recommendation is for the $4,000 to go with Freightliner.
And that's the total cost of what?
The total cost. Okay, the. The total cost for the truck is gonna be about 240,000. That's for the complete bill. The chassis cost is $125,675.
So how much are you asking us to obligate ourselves for here?
If we order 2 trucks. We're gonna be looking at about 470,000.
And if we say yes today, payment would be due when?
When they would. Be able to get us the truck. Right now, we ordered 2 trucks back in June of 22. They were supposed to be delivered now. They pushed us back to the first quarter of 24. So if we order these trucks now. They are saying we may see them at the end of 24. If not, it's gonna be 25. Till we see the trucks. Now, what we did with the first 2 trucks that we ordered in June. We leased them. So we've already made a year's payment on the trucks and we haven't even received them. So if we go this same route. We can start the payments when we want.
Was this that situation where we had? Surprised you all know more even though we agreed on X
Yes.
price?
First 2. That was what, 11,000?
11,000 per truck with the internationals.
And if you didn't take that, then I mean, you lost the truck basically.
Yep, they gonna sell it to somebody else.
Yeah.
How much would your lease payments be on them? I think you pay like 7,500 now, right?
We pay 7,700 now. It'd be about 100 and. Around 120,000
A year.
a year. We have money in the budget. We can make the payments.
What's that, what would that bring because that's one fund in your budget, I guess. What would that bring it down to? I mean, in case you need to buy something else, I mean.
That would leave us about 30,000 in truck purchases, trucks, yeah. And then we have 140,000 in other equipment, I believe.
You're talking about LRS, right? LRS, 116.
Yes.
I just don't like the fact that you're not getting them right away.
You're gonna wind up with what is this?
A bunch of money out there.
Yeah. We are getting ourselves for 4 vehicles that we're not getting, they're never gonna be here.
It's just, everybody like that, it's just crazy, but yeah, when you go by like. Down in Winnemac, Galbra, that yard's full of chassis, you know,
Did you talk to them? About getting a chance?
no, they're different setups.
They don't need our.
I think they're making the roll off. Roll back for us.
Yeah, it's different chassis in comparison.
And I've been looking for used trucks. They're just all old.
That's what I was just gonna ask you, Dan, if you was looking at used, have you found any used? Maybe we can go 1 and 1.
Well, I went and looked, we went out to Iowa and looked at a truck, last Tuesday. It wasn't a good setup. A lot of counties don't do their own road work. So that's the problem with these trucks is they're not set up for road work. And if we can't do road work with them, then they're not
Right.
good to us.
All right.
Snow clearance?
Snow clearance and just kind of hauling stone or material. They're not, the back axles are set up differently, so you can't back into the paver or the chip tops.
Oh,
And that's where our problem is. If we just wanted a truck to plow snow, we could find it.
So those 2 you already had an order, supposed to maybe get for when next year? When did you say?
Yeah, the first quarter, so January, February, March.
And then if it ordered these other ones, when would they show up possibly?
Possibly the end of 24. If not, it's gonna be 25. And if we don't get a build slot now, you're probably gonna be pushed up to 26, where you can get any new trucks.
And when do we gotta start paying on them, Charlie?
Dan's been paying on the 2 already, but if we add these other 2, I mean, I guess it would be the same thing. If
Yeah.
we lease them. So. Every month, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we pay every month on it. But we can start it whenever we want. If we wanted to start till we got the trucks. Good. But in the meantime, I mean, we're banking ahead. I'd prefer to start it.
I'm like you, Charlie. I hate having that much out there, not even have the truck.
Yeah, that's my only issue with it. Understand that we gotta get it on the books, but. Kind of money sitting out, but I mean, if you can't even find used ones that are what you need, I mean.
So will they reimburse you, like hypothetically, if we don't get these trucks, they will pay back everything, right? I mean, we're not on hook for a certain percentage or anything.
No, if we say. We don't want the ones that we ordered last June. No, they'll just,
Refund us. what we paid.
So. You have a purchasing agreement that says that.
We do have an agreement. I sent it over to Justin to look through that when we talked about what our options were.
At the last agreement, was the one, that we made a couple of payments on, the truck hadn't come yet. That
Still
one-
hasn't.
No, still, no, and it won't for a while either.
Yeah.
They, well. It's kind of the position we took on that one, can we get our money back? Yes, but correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, didn't the service representative lady tell you you can take us to court if you want, but it's gonna take you a couple of years to get the money back anyway? Was that kind of
That's how the conversation went.
which, not wrong, I mean, we can get the money back, but I don't know if that's a different company than the ones we're talking about here, but that was kind of their position.
Yeah, I was gonna, are we going back to the same company to buy more and have, and it's just fun deal? With,
Well, that's why I'm also recommending.
okay,
Get away.
gets away from that.
But what the industry has done is, when it's time to build the truck. They're looking at what the cost is, and if they've increased costs. They just pass it along.
So they're building trucks like they build airplanes now.
So even as they're building the ones you got ordered, Dan, if they decide to put something more expensive on, we're paying for that also.
Yes,
That just seems crazy to me.
Yeah. Me too. That's what I don't like, but.
I mean, is there like a contract for, I mean, that's, I think, something
Yeah, the actual sales agreement before we,
decide really on this.
okay,
Like the lease agreement,
Something.
yeah,
Specifying a little bit.
yeah.
more
See,
stuff.
yeah, just so we have a better understanding of what happens to the payments we're making before we get the vehicle. So we're, because I don't want to replicate the situation we just found ourselves in with those first two, where we've already in. I hate to use the term investment because it's a vehicle and vehicles aren't investments, but we paid out X number of dollars. And now, without getting anything, and now they want more money before we get something.
here's. The kick is. Down here, they put a clause in that if we sign this. And then decide that we don't want the truck. They can ding us for $5,000.
Dan, have you talked to the other counties? Is this how they're purchasing theirs also?
Well, a lot of counties,
Yeah, what's your buddy down in White County tell you?
well, he's in a whole different world because he builds his own trucks. He buys a chassis only.
Okay.
And then they build everything else in their shop.
Oh, we don't have a shop for that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's totally different, but.
Yeah.
He buys everything up that he can get his hands on. He has. People understand that he's got unlimited funds. So they call him and he buys everything up that he can get. If something comes available. But he's also buying Peterbilt's.
Little more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're $155,000 a chassis because he just got one the other day.
And the term unlimited funds is never anything we're going to go buy anything in this county.
But all the counties are in the same boat as far as. Cass County and I believe Fulton County canceled their orders. They didn't pay the 11,000 increase. But. Now they're starting over from ground zero. Trying to get a build slot.
God, these types of deals suck. Because we do need the vehicles. I mean, going by this. We've got a very high mileage fleet. It's just the business models that have become entrenched don't do us any favors.
Like I say, the only advantage is. By doing the lease, we could start payments now. So. We're a year, we'll get them paid off a year ahead of time.
But I mean, that's looking at that, it doesn't, it's kind of vague how it shows like. You know, if there is any increase, I mean. They could throw a part on there and it costs more money and we still got to pay for that increase. Is it?
Yeah, that,
Yeah,
that's the standard, it's, they're all doing that.
welcome to. No, I'm not gonna call it that because it's technically not. Market
Them other
pollution, but
two trucks, when you ordered them, when did they say they were supposed to be done originally?
Right now, we should have got them at this time.
Right.
they're delayed till
Next.
They switched us
Spring.
back, yeah.
They're making money.
you want to do.
I don't know, this is something we think about.
We don't have a lot of time because
I
the
know.
old slots are gonna come. up
Yeah,
at the end
if
of
we
the
don't, decide. By the end of next month. We're probably out, well, these boats are only good for how many days, 30?
You can order the chassis and have it
From-
in White County.
Yeah, good through
Build it.
the 16th.
I thought about that.
Might be an option.
I don't know if they would do that or not.
Yeah, they might not have, they might be busy with their own stuff and not have time for it. They don't want to,
Worth a phone call.
I could see them not wanting to open that door and start getting requests from, how many counties like us through the state? Yeah, but
If
I
Rachel-
thought they're only.
well, this is, it's good through the 16th. Let's delay this decision until our meeting at the beginning of September.
Table it.
Motion to table the decision on the.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Maybe you could keep looking after, keep you looking for some muslin. Maybe we can look out and get one.
Yeah,
What information would you like to see next week?
I would let Justin read the contract also, Dan, before you even bring it up before us. What are we gonna do if that place goes belly up?
I mean, that contract, or what, that's pretty vague, very.
we'll hammer that out this week.
Okay,
Charlie will have a couple conversations with you this week about.
all right.
Yeah, we didn't know we had bus service in Stark County for me to 300.
They don't bother.
All right, moving on, bridge number 7. Is gonna be finished on September 5th. Do we have a bridge opening celebration at all?
No,
No,
I mean, we could.
the road's open. Yay.
Okay, yeah, that's finishing ahead of schedule, so that's been a good project. Gravel roads, we're gonna. I have a couple guys gonna work on grading the roads this week. We've had a lot of rainfall. Get ready for harvest. Road maintenance, currently, we just really started getting into the chip sealing mode, so we have about 25 miles to go. Plus, we've been out cutting low hanging branches that the school buses are calling in. With all this extra moisture, we got some more than normal limbs hanging down. Getting intersections, cutting corn. Getting the corners cleaned up for the school buses. As far as training, currently, we're working on PPE requirements for cutting brush or trees. We've had 6 or 7 workman comp claims for poison ivy this year. So there was a policy in place many years ago and it's kind of vanished. So we're working on getting one reinstated.
Well, it's not, okay, yeah. Step up the enforcement on that, so.
Yeah. And overall, we would like to for every piece of equipment we have a definite list of PPE requirements for that piece of equipment. So we're working on getting this document. Solar projects, Mammoth, nothing really to report out there. We did do some stone firming on the edges of 800 South. I don't know if anyone's been down there recently, but we did that.
Not around there, I was at 800 South. More towards the other side of the county,
Okay.
closer to 421 recently. So,
Next year, project, Town and Country is pretty much done with their portion of the road work that they was contracted to do with next year.
So is that that ain't the company that maintains those roads and
No, they're gonna have Black and Beach grade the roads. So we'll just have to patrol them and let them know. Say,
yeah, because things are a lot looser than I thought they were gonna be when you told us we were coming in with the chemical treatment for it to stabilize things.
Yeah, they just sprayed that, what was that? A week ago Friday. So. I was out there. Last Monday and Wednesday, I haven't been out there since, I'm trying to make it out there today.
yeah, it's some, I mean, those types of roads need to keep, I mean, you gotta keep an eye on it and keep it. I mean, there's people driving them every day, I don't, you know, it's. Yeah, it's something we gotta do.
Yep.
We're, what's the status of the traffic survey equipment right now? Is that in service available for use, or are we still needing to do some work to get those usable?
Okay, we have 2 at the highway. And the batteries are only holding for about 2 days worth of collection. We did borrow 2 machines from LTAP and use them. So. If you have something in mind, if it's a big project, we can go get the ones back now. If needs be.
No, I just wanted the ones that we had working
Yeah, we have 2 of them that work.
for 2 days.
Yeah.
Can you get, I mean, is that battery replaced, I mean, or what's,
Yeah, we can check and see,
Because that's,
as I mean, it's not a thing you use all the time, but.
what's the normal life on that supposed to be?
I think they were supposed to be 4 or 5 days. I know we just did one down in next era project on 1100 West. We were having problems hooking up with the internet connection. But we finally did get it to go.
That's all we got, man. Is that all you got for us?
Yep.
All right.
Hey, Dan,
Yes, Don.
you said you was fully staffed. Do we still got our mowers working?
Yes.
And how many you got out and how long will they be working?
We currently have 4 mowing roadsides and 1 is cutting brush back. So there should be 5 tractors out.
Okay, you gotta have them out for a while, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
at least probably the way it's raining, probably through September.
okay, thanks.
Okay.
Sheriff, you're up next.
Yeah, the share's over, so you can both sit here.
Let him do whatever he wants to do. He's the boss. He made me sit in the front. I'm parking behind him.
That's much, that's a much more comfortable chair though.
And it's good when they have to get out of it.
Okay.
Well, it is hard to get out.
All right.
As you guys probably know, that we lost our health link grant for the officer and for the other.
Social worker.
Social worker. We're gonna get the social worker grant back,
Okay.
but the person, usually the person we had doing all that was also our evidence technician, which is a very key and vital part of our system. So what we're asking for is to replace the officer and for a evidence technician. The officer pay would be along with everybody, with all the rest of the officer pay, which is just about 51,000. And then for the evidence technician, it'd be 37,000, we'll pay them the same as we do the service. I know it's kind of a bad time and everything, but we had no idea that we were gonna lose that grant.
So you found a licensed social worker for the other
Their
position?
Health Link is doing that.
Okay, they're gonna,
And we do have one person that that we have on staff now to supply the name to, but it's so to help.
so HealthLink is going to give us the
Right, yeah.
grant and the person
Right.
paid by the grant.
Right.
They're supposed to work with us for job descriptions and they've got some people that they work with them on that. So
And they don't seem, they don't seem to think it's a problem to find somebody. And the last time that was part of the problem, they couldn't find the advice. And that's a description of the evidence tech and the road officer with their job description. I mean, we're having trouble just filling the schedule right now. And that's eating up our overtime, but because when we can't, we have to have two guys working at a time.
Yes.
And so you're money ahead to grant that because then your overtime budget will go down. I mean, it may take a cycle to go through that, but eventually it will save you money in the long. And I'm sorry that we have to come to you here and ask for this, but kind of what is the situation beyond our control.
What is that you're reading, Charlie? Is that a new grant or?
Well, it's just the
Job description.
job description.
Job description of the road officer and the evidence technician. We can email it to you. I'm sorry. I didn't know what your status was for this.
Right.
Well, personally, I think, we don't want to lose roll-offs. There was a definite need for it. It was just an easier decision. It was grant funded. I'm not as convinced on the evidence technician, right? I think if the rest of your people are doing their jobs to the fullest extent, this shouldn't be necessary. But then, I'm as informed as I am sitting on this.
Well, the evidence tech would free up, we'll have to put somebody in charge of that. And if it's an existing person, then their productivity on the road is gonna go down because they're gonna have to deal with this too.
Well, yeah, you've got. How many folks outside of your road guys in the office doing investigations?
Too.
Okay.
Is that gonna be in the new car and everything, Jack? Are you gonna be short a car?
I think for the immediate future that we have some, because we just got the two new Durangos. So I think for the immediate future that we would be okay. Now, long-term, we're probably gonna have to get him a, a better car too, but for the immediate future right now, I think we'd be okay.
Do you have any guys working part-time for you?
Yes. I don't think filling the position is gonna be hard. I don't think filling the position is gonna be hard.
Well, we've got, this is just taking the place of the position we're losing because we're losing the grant. We already have
That-
we already have a person.
Right.
Yeah.
But you'll be adding a whole nother body, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, it won't be a new person. It'll just be to fill in where.
Right.
It's not an additional person. It'll just be
Right.
keeping us where we are. And that's what I was saying about the overtime, because we're having a hard time just keeping this. And Jack, I don't know if you guys knew this, he broke his foot. So he's gonna be out of action for a while.
Was the Atlas Tech, was she were they let go or were they?
No, we still have him on board. The grant ends at October 1st.
And they're not there as an evidence tech, they're there as a social worker.
The dual position.
You're just trying to create the evidence technician to keep her on staff because we're losing. Because we have to have a licensed social worker in that grant.
It's ultimately we're not sure who we're gonna fill that position. Ultimately, it's to get that position created so that we have someone to cover that. Sometimes there are times that they have to take, if we have one of our road guys doing it, there are times that they have to hop in the car and go to Lowell to drop off evidence or anything like that. So that would be ultimately, that is not for any single person, that is for the position, and then we need to fill it. The officers grant, they have just taken away the.
Yeah, that's gone. It's gone.
And they're just doing the call pay and the mercs, so.
They said we were the only county that they had actually did that for.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something's created by
Yeah.
somebody at Healthline.
Yeah.
That's no longer there.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Charlie, I have a question.
And when,
So this was a grant funded position through HealthLink. And the person was being paid through HealthLink to be a social worker, but then they were also doing evidence tech on that
Right.
grant.
And
funded program.
really, the past administration should have put a line item in there for her to do both jobs. Because, just because it was, they tasked her with two other things besides being a social worker. And they should have funded it, they didn't.
So the workload is increased on the evidence side, that you need a full-time person now, because she was doing it part-time in addition to social work. So what increased that you need her for?
We could probably get by with a part-time person, but it's, evidence comes in at 3:00 in the morning sometimes, or if it's a big drug bust or something. I mean, so you've got to have a person that is reliable in there. It's a lot more than what it sounds. I mean, and they have to testify in court and they have to keep the chain of custody up there. It's just a lot, it's a lot more than what just taking a bag and write it down,
Oh, right.
putting it in a box,
I personally would like to hold off on this for another month or so and let Jack use some part-time to fill in the patrol guy.
Okay. So you don't wanna. You wanna table both of them, both the descriptions?
Yes.
Make the motion to table the decision on these proposed job descriptions. For a second.
Second. Yep.
You just want me to come back on.
Yeah, apparently
First meeting in September.
have some more discussions with Donnie. Yeah.
Okay. And thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it.
Don, do you want this first meeting in September or the second meeting in September?
Second, please.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And Don, I sure hope you get better, buddy.
Hopefully in a couple days.
And Carrie?
I think you have everything
from last week's meeting, and then I did, copy. The emails that I sent with the alternate proposals for the workers' comp. So today, what we're, I guess here to do is to decide on moving forward with the liability insurance and making a decision on whether you want to remain with the current workers' comp carrier or make a move to one of the other two proposed companies.
The other proposed companies.
We have a proposal from IPA and a proposal from the Indiana Workers' Compensation state pool.
Right, and our options outside of that are what?
Staying with your current carrier of Bitco.
But that's not a permanent solution.
That's correct.
Okay.
They've already informed us that they will renew the policy this year because of the time frame in which the renewal is up. But as of the 2024 renewal, they will not be renewing the policy. Based on the past claim history, namely this past year. So it's my recommendation in looking at both of the proposed quotes is to go with IPA. Currently, in talking with them, they are writing 62 of the 92 counties in Indiana. So they are definitely a strong representation in the workers' comp marketplace. Where we need the help. And another reason to go with IPEP is with the risk management. They have a strong risk management team. So they have 3 risk managers that we have access to. And they would be in conjunction with the risk management that we already received from our liability carrier, Martinez. So I think between the 2 risk management teams, we'd be doing very well with both of those. So they're aware of the claims. They got this aware of the claims, and even the most recent. And their thought on, even though the experience has been bad, is that they feel with their risk management team and the history on Stark County's account prior to those losses, that this isn't a permanent situation, that it's a temporary situation, and that they're willing to help us to get back into those good claim history years.
They're lower than our current.
They're lower than the current.
Why?
So was 90, so that's.
Well, no, the big thing is. The recent accidents, all the EMS and. The loss late last year.
Yeah.
For the highway.
December.
So, that if we go with the state pool, which is a little bit less than I have, we have absolutely no services from them. We have no claim service. I mean, other than reporting the claim and then processing it. We don't have any control or any risk management control, which is really important right now. And also, if we're in a standard carrier, if we have a good year this year, they have, which I had sent you emails explaining what scheduled credits are. They have the availability to apply scheduled credits if we've had a profitable year. If we're with the pool, there is none of that. So the rate is the rate is the rate, and the surcharge is the surcharge. There's no variance from it. So I just feel like overall, we really generally only go to the risk pool for the state if there's no availability in the standard market because of the type of business or because of past loss history. So I don't, we're not there yet, and we really don't want to access that if we don't.
I'll make the motion to. Accept the quote for IPEP of $138,843.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor? Aye.
And then also, I think we have to have a motion for renewing with list proposal. Which is Current liability, auto, property,
That sheet turned up in the packet.
yeah. So.
Oh, that's,
Yeah,
that's this,
yeah.
okay. And that's the 588, 636.
Minus the 153.
Let's try to do the math for me. I went to OD in the 90s.
So, about for,
I'm making motion to accept the Woods McKnight proposal for the 588, 636 minus the 153, 724. And then you can do the math.
I'll second, Charlie.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
thank you very much. I'll give this, Rachel, the paperwork and.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Look forward to it.
Thanks, Gary.
But next year, thank you, guys.
And we have, Mary from the planning commission.
We have, food ordinances. First one on there, the vote is for dwelling. It's just ordinance establishing the dwelling, what they're defined as in the county and taking. Basically, a bunch of different pieces of our ordinance, putting them all in one spot. So that when we have questions on what constitutes a dwelling, they're all in one spot and I can somebody. One piece of an ordinance, not page from here, page from here, page from there. And it puts it all together in a combined area. This passed at the planning commission last meeting on the 9th. Recommended to you.
I don't have this.
Don, did you get a copy of these to look
No, I
at?
didn't.
I asked,
Well, I might have a week or so ago, but I did not look at them. Sorry.
Okay.
for the record, I did ask all the department heads to email you guys before Friday afternoon, any information that they represent.
I given it to you.
Right, but
So you're making copies.
yes, but they, I said they need to look at it prior.
So I didn't.
Anything, just email them anything that you want to
Okay,
present.
see, I took that as. If you weren't coming,
Oh, no,
then
no,
to email it,
yeah,
or
I
if
can
we
see
weren't giving it to
Right.
you. Then to email it to me.
I would just like to make a statement before these three ordinances are passed on that several times you have made statements that you did not want to put the big hand of government down on people and their private property rights. And here we are, we're getting ready to vote on crack paint, it's on trailers, semi-trailers in the yards, several different things that when you vote, you're putting the big hand of the government down on these people and their private property rights.
So on our dwelling ordinance, the dwelling ordinance. Has nothing to do with crack paint. These are all issues or. These are just definitions. That put everything all in one place in our ordinance. These are already standards that we are already currently going by.
Yeah, here's your notes going to reflect or represent, the statements that have been made.
Yeah.
mean, like this one that's here, this one has nothing, I mean,
Yeah, there's,
it's just basically putting different sections together.
Right.
Just to make things easier.
Clearer,
Yeah.
what was the impetus for wanting to start the process to make these changes?
The board asked that we do it,
Which board?
planning commission.
Why?
Well,
Not to
it'll
sound-
make.
Not to sound like a
Honestly-
toddler, but
Honestly, it'll make my life easier. Pause, because that way all the information is in one ordinance that I'll be able to print off and hand them. Or email to. them. It's all in one spot, whereas previously, if you've seen our ordinance book, or if you listen.
well, yeah, that's
Okay,
a
and
thing from
part of,
long ago,
right, and parts of the
which,
ordinance have, you know.
are you done explaining or can I say my
12 or
piece?
13.
Because I've heard this a couple times, you know, we need, and that's why when it's put in front of me like this, we don't have a codified ordinance structure, but these are being presented as a code. And there's so much disparate looking for, you know, ordinances that cover what and where. And yes, I do think we need to start consolidating them, but I don't know that piecemealing that consolidation is any better of a process than what we've inherited from years ago. Yeah. But these two don't look any more. What's the word I'm looking for? Arduous than what we've already got on the books. It's just actual definitions. And what it takes to meet those definitions. So I don't think I've got a problem with these. I'm still going through this one.
The only changes in that one are down towards the bottom of it, section B. The only changes are it went from 1.9 acres to a solid 2. And where it has 5 acres, it used to be 4.99 acres, so we took it up to 5.
Which ordinance is that?
This is the use of semi-van trailers and
Okay.
intermodal shipping
So I
units
I
as
have,
permanent storage.
so I do have a couple of questions on that one, and Justin kind of alluded to it earlier, but it talks about shipping paint and rust.
Yeah.
And then the other piece that I noticed down there is that the Connex container has to be behind your property. I'd like to understand why. Why it has to be behind the primary dwelling and why we have to worry about the rust and the paint. What's the reason for those things?
And that's,
So I mean, that's always been in that,
So it's not visible from the road.
well, there's. If that's the case, there's been some inconsistent enforcement of that.
Well, they more than likely sought a variance.
Okay,
through the BZA.
so
When
you
they
can
seek
still,
a variance, they're allowed to ask for
And
permission.
what's-
but it's-
what's the burden involved in seeking a variance with regard to this?
This is just clearing up what in the areas where they are allowed, where they don't have to seek a variance,
Okay.
the acreage.
And what I asked was. If they need to seek a variance, what's that process?
The process for seeking a variance is they have to pay a $200 fee, they have to go through the Board of Zoning Appeals. You know, the board can vote whether or not they would be allowed to or not.
Last planning commission meeting, I was at 2 areas, there was somebody asking for a variance. And, you know, that board president was pretty adamant that these were written for a reason. And once we go over to do a variance on one person, then we have to start doing it on their side, which is
Shouldn't be a problem.
variances, like, I watched a couple get turned down with 23 acres and. They was wanting to build a house on their.
That wasn't for shipping.
I don't know
That
that.
was
It's
Literally,
variances. in
Either way.
general,
that was for completely different.
Variances in general. And like,
Alright.
you know, and it's-
I guess my question is, that I understand that the code was written this way, but if we're gonna look at readjusting the ordinance, I'd still like to understand the purpose for the no chipping paint and why it has to be behind your property. My understanding from the planning commission was because it's an eyesore for their neighbors, and I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I don't believe in regulating based off of aesthetics.
So to me,
I,
if we're gonna
you know,
fix it,
that's the thing, what's the hazard presented by this that requires regulation? Or is it just to keep things creating? So we're gonna push out ugly things from the county, there's a whole lot of us who need to leave.
Yeah, I think with that, I think with that ordinance, I mean. We're gonna change other stuff, or, I mean, we should. Really have where it needs to be placed and stuff on there. I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, not saying that they shouldn't be where they're at, but there's people use those, so. So, better than leaving the junk out in the yard.
If you start chipping on paint, when the water tower and Johnson started chipping paint.
Well, that'll be a
Are we
different
gonna
process.
start picking on that too?
But, well, I would think, again, I'm making an assumption. And you know how those go. That sort of activity is laid out in the permitting process, and mitigations for that are stipulated. To address any sort of paint chipping and what might be aerosolized or otherwise thrown out into the atmosphere. So that's really a separate issue. In my mind.
Since you went that route, let's assume the shipping container is rusty with no paint on it.
Yeah, well, and it's,
I mean, that already
given
is
what's
fine.
proposed or what's. Maybe not as consolidated currently on the books. Sounds like a variance would be required. For that sort of situation. Which is
and it's $200 to,
$250.
For us, to not get the variance.
Right. That's. I really don't.
if we're gonna fix the ordinance, might as well fix the whole thing at once.
Well, that's. Yeah, I mean, that goes back to what I said about doing things piecemeal. Donnie, do you have thoughts as you've heard me ramble?
Since I can't really read it, Mark, I don't know, but I'm like you guys, chip and paint and stuff, I don't know, kind of picky. I don't mind moving the land a little bit, but, and like I say, I can't read it, so I can't really give you my full opinion.
There's no timeline or deadline for approval unless it's presented or within the 60
I think
days.
it's within 60 days, yeah,
All right. From the public hearing,
from the date they certified it,
okay,
which would have been last week, the night.
yeah, let's. Give Donnie some more time to look at it. And maybe come up with some more ideas on this.
This one is the one I'm most concerned with.
Right, yeah. Same here. These two are fairly innocuous. They're just definitions, qualifications, but this is the one that's trying to tell people what to do.
I'd say telling somebody that they can't put a second house on their 23 acres of land is telling them what they can do. So,
I'll make a motion to table this until our next meeting. Like I said, give Donnie some more time to look at it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
The table, you're gonna table. all-
Might do the end of the month.
The whole kit and caboodle. Well, we've got the 60-day, well, no, 60 days. Yeah, we get. We'll just table it for now and put it on the future agenda.
Before Mary leaves,
Yeah.
this is the one that was approved, but you wanted her to change something in. Can you just remind me of what
The fact that there were two different definitions for the same term.
permanent use?
Yeah, that'll have to go back to the planning commission.
Okay. Yeah, this, that's,
They was like side by side too, wasn't they, Mark?
what's that?
Them definitions were like side by side there in that one.
Yeah, yeah, it's just, it just seemed messy to have the same word meaning two different things depending on the context. Maybe we should be able to adapt the definition to scale to whatever application it needs to have.
On any other ordinance, it starts with you guys. I just make the adjustment, but since it was a certification, it has to go back to them. It's more form over substance, right? Thank you.
I don't want to word this thing when you say it at this time and this place. Well, it means something else entirely when you say it in a different room at a different hour. Okay.
Then that. Might skip that. That's on California, the equipment ordinance.
Yeah, that doesn't need to be addressed. That'll be taken care of at the township level.
Well, that's- So a motion to approve the vendor claims in the amount of $773,191.14.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
There's a motion to approve the payroll claims in the amount of $296,724.95.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just make a motion together on both these minutes right now. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from Monday, August 7th, 2023? Are these the same ones?
It's the health department, and then that night you guys had some with your regular section.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from both meetings that occurred on August 7th.
second,
All those in favor? Aye. We have NIPSCO right away request. That was up by or over here by the industrial park.
Justin did review it.
There should be two of them. I think the only question is whether or not you want to charge any. the other ones were economic, oh, never mind, I guess the other ones were somebody else. The only question I had is, if you guys wanted to charge anything for that, I know typically in the past, my units have just
We have,
allowed. to do
we
it.
did, what did we do with the, there was an RMC request. What? And I thought there was a dollar amount attached to that, I don't think.
Yeah, they did, our agency did pay you $1 for
Yeah.
easement done, I think it was like last year,
Yeah.
beginning of next year. But,
So is this?
historically, NIPSCO has not paid for easement, but
Yeah, because there's. NIPSCO. And this is for what purpose? Again,
What are they wanting to put there, I guess, or what would, I mean, if some reason they want to get in there.
They didn't.
electric
stipulate it.
anchor and guide facilities.
Just the-
Putting in a pole.
Map on the back, so it's hard to see, but it does look like it's obviously.
Right back,
Yeah. Well, there's one right before it. I
it's a
think, but-
crosshair.
But still, you're trying to read a meets and bounds legal description.
Okay.
I can't do.